So the Philadelphia 76ers linked once again to a Zach Lavine trade. That's what we're talking about on today's 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you out there getting set to have a fantastic weekend. That report coming from NBC Sports Chicago. We're going to look at that. Also, I have to go on a rant because I'm really frustrated with how the Sixers offseason has gone. It appears as though Daryl Morey has absolutely no plan. Before we do officially begin, though, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're in a great sub battle here with New York Knicks Now. These are subs gained over the last 7 days. Now, Knicks Now is a larger YouTube channel than 76ers Now. But with this video alone, we can overtake that channel here, up I-95 North, if you hit that sub button for the best year-round coverage of the Philadelphia 76ers. We did 3 videos yesterday. If anything breaks, we always give it to you year-round. Informative, entertaining, insightful Sixers knowledge right here on the program. So let me first rant about the Sixers offseason up to this point. The 76ers appear to have absolutely no plan throughout this offseason, and it's really, really frustrating. And I tweeted this out a little bit earlier, this video from former President Donald Trump, and he had said back a couple of years ago, there's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy. And basically, that's what Daryl Morey has basically shown Sixers fans so far this year. There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy. Like, he has to do a better job of putting a championship-level team on the floor, because right now when I examine and I canvass the Sixers roster, they are not a better team than they were last year when they lost that game in Game 7 to the Boston Celtics, which ended the season. And you look at the Sixers offseason so far up to this point, listless, despicable, disgusting effort in that Game 7 TD Garden against the Celtics in the second round. They fired Doc Rivers and hired Nick Nurse. Then you have Tobias Harris Crumbl gate when he says in an interview that casual Sixers fans would trade me for a Crumbl cookie. James Harden then last week demanded a trade on Thursday. You lost George Niang, Shake Milton, and Jalen McDaniels in NBA free agency. The Sixers got on the board, making their first addition to this roster in Patrick Beverley, a move that I like. I also like the addition of Mo Bamba as a backup big to Joel Embiid, who's really athletic, can stretch the floor by knocking down some threes. Last night, I discussed this here on the show. Montrezl Harrell appears to be so cooked, so washed, and so far out of his prime, it doesn't make any sense to bring back a player like that, especially when you now have 4 players in that front court, and there's a little bit of a logjam there. I still think the Sixers need depth wings, especially for some defensive bonus on that end of the floor, and it's becoming increasingly likely, potentially, maybe, that the Sixers are really going to run it back with this collective core, and Daryl Morey is planning on the hiring of Nick Nurse and the change at head coach being the one move this offseason that gets the Sixers over the top. Now, I know the other day I was saying I still think the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics, Miami Heat better than Philadelphia. The Celtics, I think, have gotten worse this offseason. But the Sixers have gotten worse as well this offseason as well. Now, this can change in a blink, especially if the Sixers make a Zach Lavine trade, and we're going to dive into that report coming up in just a few moments here. But up to this point, it's been so mundane, so boring, so head-scratching, and I don't understand what the Sixers and Daryl Morey are doing. I know he's a smart and calculated guy, but we're sitting here officially a week into NBA free agency, and the Sixers have lost some players that they could have brought back, and they haven't fortified that second unit at all. So if you're with me, and if you've been frustrated by the Sixers offseason so far, hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If you like what they've done, I need you to explain to me why. I'm looking forward to seeing what your responses are down in the comment section. We'll hit Zach Lavine here just around the corner, but first, how about this deal? Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. This t-shirt shorts combo was $60, now on sale for just $33. Limited time only. Get swagged up throughout this summer season and rep this squad at chatsports.com/76ers combo. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. Now to Zach Lavine. NBC Sports Chicago dropping this report just moments ago that Lavine has landed in conversations with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Portland Trailblazers. According to reports, the Bulls have been taking calls on Lavine, but not making them. He is a hyperactive scorer who can really get a bucket from anywhere, and that's why I believe Lavine would be a great addition on this Sixers team. Now, the report from NBC Sports Chicago did say, as of right now, those conversations haven't really gained any momentum or taken a lot of footing. But we know that in the NBA offseason, #ThisLeague, things can change very, very drastically. And a Tobias Harris for Zach Lavine trade would be awesome. If you put in Alex Caruso in there as well, then he can give you a very good defensive guard in this lineup. He can start, D'Anthony Milton could start, or you could flip-flop those two in that starting five. The pluses of the Philadelphia 76ers trading for Zach Lavine. He is a huge scoring upgrade over Tobias Harris, a guy who can create for himself and score at all three levels. He's also a better athlete who's a lot springier than Tobias Harris. His offensive style translates to the NBA playoffs. He can get to the rack, better off the dribble drive than Toby, but his three-point game, I think, is a lot more efficient than Harris, and he could be a catch-and-shoot guy, dribble into his three-pointers as well, and I just think he's a more dangerous offensive threat. A Tyrese Maxey, Zach Lavine, and Joel Embiid threesome is certainly intriguing, and it would be a very difficult combination to stop in the NBA playoffs. So when you configure how this roster would look like, led by those three, I think the Sixers team would be daunting to go up against in a 7-game series. And then also, the pluses of adding Zach Lavine here. Can Nick Nurse get him engaged on the defensive end of the floor? He has not been known as a solid defender, but if you go back and watch the Olympics from a couple of years ago, when Team USA won that gold medal, Zach Lavine was picking up cats 94 feet. He was defending at a really high level. It's one of those things where he's a good defender when he's engaged. He just hasn't always been engaged throughout his NBA career, but he's plenty athletic enough, fast enough, has the vertical leaping ability to be a good defender, and his size is pretty solid as well. This is what I would think that Sixers starting five would look like with Lavine. Tyrese Maxey would become your point guard and main initiator and creator. You'd slide D'Anthony Milton into that starting five because you have to think that you would trade away James Harden. You have Lavine, who could give you 25 to 30 any given night on that wing. PJ Tucker, for defensive purposes, I think has to be in that starting lineup. Maxey, Milton, Tucker, Embiid, very good defenders there. And then you have Embiid, who can stretch the floor. You could put him on that low block from that elbow, mid-range, baseline, and offer him a lot of spacing as well, which he hasn't really had in previous seasons because teams don't really think that Toby is a legitimate three-point threat. Zach Lavine, though, ladies and gentlemen, is, this past year, 77 games played, a lot of PT, 25 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 4+ assists. He doesn't do much other than scoring the basketball. So a little bit of a dip there from Toby, especially when you consider and factor in the defense. But 48.5% from the field and almost 38% from three. He's hovered around 37-38% from downtown over the last 3 years. And you look at those three-point numbers the last 3 seasons and really the last 4, these are very efficient statistical figures here. 38, 42, 39, 37.5% from long range, and that comes with a lot of shot opportunities and a lot of volume there. So for the percentages to remain that high is pretty impressive. And as you can see, 24 to 27 points per game any given night, I think he would be the beneficiary of playing alongside Joel Embiid in this Sixers lineup. And that 1-2 punch, the two-man game that they can operate in addition to the three-man game with Tyrese Maxey, I think that the team would be better right now if you bring in Lavine, trade away Toby, trade away Harden, than it would be if you just run it back with the current construct of this team. Advanced shooting numbers for Lavine as well. Catch and shoot. He'd be able to do a lot of that on this team and get some open looks. Last year connected on about 41.5% of those attempts. Pull-up threes, oddly enough, pretty low at 34%. Very good finisher inside 10 feet, almost 63%. Why is that? Good touch around the rim, good body control around the rim. He is a hyper jumper. We're talking pogo sticks for legs here. The real ones know from back in the day. Are pogo sticks still a thing, by the way, Jack? I don't even know if they're still a thing. I haven't seen one in a really long time, but he can leap, finish around the rim, in traffic, amongst the trees, up and unders, dunks, layups high off the glass. Like, that's the type of game that you're talking about, whereas Harris is more of a straight line mover, and then Zach Lavine, more of the frenetic type of athlete. Overall ranking for these categories, top 10 in the NBA last year. So let's ask you this before we hop on out of here. What is your level of interest in Zach Lavine? Scale it for me from 1 to 100. Keep an eye out for a whole bunch of content coming your way this weekend as well, because we have to keep this channel hot, right? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel either. Year-round coverage on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6ers. Have a great weekend. We appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.